There comes a point in life when everything feels like it's stopped moving forward. For some, it's the chronic pain that just won't fade. For others, it's a deep exhaustion that lingers no matter how much rest you get. Maybe it was a diagnosis that changed your sense of normal, or the moment you realized that your energy was gone and you couldn't remember what it felt like to wake up strong again. One day, you were coping fine, pushing through, getting by, and then without warning, your world just seemed to contract. Smaller, slower, harder. This point of stuckness is deeply human. Whether it's neuropathy, knee pain, fatigue, or inflammation, everyone who's lived with ongoing discomfort knows the quiet fears that comes when you wonder, will I ever feel normal again, my old self again? That question, the longing to go from pain, fear, and exhaustion to strength, hope, and healing sits at the core of human motivation. The truth is, your ability to recover isn't limited by willpower alone. It's driven by your own biology. Your brain and body were not designed to stay broken. They were wired for change, wired for healing, and there are science-based, zero-cost tools that can actually help you reclaim control at any age. This guide is to introduce that process to you. We'll explore the hidden role of dopamine, pain, energy, and the neuroplastic rules that allow your brain to rewire, the healing protocols that help your motivation, biology. Or if you've ever felt burnt out, drained, or unmotivated to do even the smallest thing, it's not a lack of willpower. It could be biology. And dopamine sits at the center of all of it. Dopamine is not just a pleasure chemical. It is your body's universal signal for motivation, drive, and the pursuit of relief. It tells your brain, well, this matters, move forward with it. But dopamine doesn't function like an on-off switch. It behaves like a wave pool. Think of your daily energy and motivation like waves in a pool. Every time you chase a reward, whether it's a burst of pain relief, comfort food, caffeine, social media, or even validation, you create a wave, a peak of dopamine and down. But after every peak comes a natural trough. And when you keep chasing those peaks, your baseline drops lower each time. You feel more drained, more foggy, more hopeless. And this is the trap that many fall into without realizing it. You experience pain or fatigue, so you reach for a fix. Sugar, scrolling, stimulants. You feel momentarily better, and then you crash lower than you did before. And over time, your dopamine reservoirs starts to run dry. The dopamine trough is the state where people report feeling flat, emotionally numb, or disconnected from joy. It's that invisible exhaustion where you say, I'm just tired of being tired. In that state, the natural instinct is to seek another hit of stimulation, something to feel alive again. But the cruel irony is that chasing another quick hit just deepens the trough. The more you push the system, the less responsive it becomes. It doesn't work anymore. Because the harder you try to feel good, the harder it becomes to feel anything. To recover, you must play by biology's rules. Dopamine is finite. You cannot just endlessly push for highs without rest. The crash is proportional to the peak. The higher and the faster you spike, the deeper in valley afterwards. The only way to rebuild stability is to pause the cycle, to rest, wait, allow your system to replenish naturally. This waiting period can feel deeply uncomfortable because your brain will signal cravings for stimulation. But if you stay patient, the reservoir refills, your energy returns, and your motivation resets to a healthier baseline. This is how the healing process actually begins, not by adding more stimulation, but by giving your biology room to reset. Here's the truth most people don't hear often enough. You can change your brain at any age. Even if you've lived with pain for decades, your nervous system is not frozen in that state. It can learn new patterns, build new maps, and recover lost stability. This is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to physically and functionally rewire itself. It's how we learn new skills, adapt to change, and crucially, how we heal. When you were younger, your brain changed automatically through just experience. You didn't have to think about it. Every new sound, new touch, and idea shaped your neural wiring. But as adults, change becomes intentional. The The nervous system only rewires when it detects urgency, when your focus, emotion, and biology signal that something truly matters. That urgency comes from a surge of neuromodulators like dopamine, epinephrine, or norepinephrine. These chemicals mark the experience as important. Pay attention. This matters. That's why emotionally charged moments, both good and bad, stick so vividly in your memory. To initiate healing, you must use this mechanism consciously. You can't just passively hope to change. You have to create small moments of focus, alertness, and deliberate windows where your brain says, well, this experience counts. That might mean taking 3 deep breaths before reacting to pain, or replacing one negative habit, like catastrophizing, with a focus, more positive-like habit. Or replacing one negative habit that's catastrophic with a focused positive one, like journaling small victories or perform light movement despite discomfort. Each of these micro shifts tells your brain we're building a new pattern. The real rewiring, however, happens during rest and deep sleep. That's when your neurons stabilize and the new connections actually strengthen. That's why sleep is so important. But this is also why consistency beats intensity in recovery. It's not the single act of willpower that heals you. It's the repeated, focused choice to engage in new behaviors that gradually builds a new normal. Over time, you notice that your baseline energy, your motivation, and physical comfort begins to improve. Not because your pain vanished overnight, but because your brain and your body started functioning as one. Healing isn't about perfection, it's about rhythm. The most resilient people aren't those who never experience setbacks, they're the ones who master the recovery, the comeback. Protocols help replenish dopamine, promote neuroplastic healing, and restore your system's natural motivation. Optimize sleep and rest. Sleep isn't just rest, it's biological repair. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates new learning and resets chemical balance. If you wake up unrefreshed, well, try NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, a guided 10 to 30 minute protocol that mimics the key stages of sleep. Lie flat, close your eyes, focus on slow exhale, scanning your body from head to toe. This activates a parasympathetic system, replenishing dopamine and rebalancing mood. 2. Hydration. Sunlight, and movement. Drink 16 to 32 ounces of water within minutes of waking up, following with sunlight exposure. Natural light, even through clouds, triggers healthy cortisol rhythms, improving energy and mood. Then move. Well, even 5 minutes of walking, stretching, or breathing exercises jumpstarts dopamine circuits and shifts your body out of stagnation. 3. Manage peaks and troughs. Avoid dopamine stacking. Pairing multiple high-reward behaviors like caffeine, scrolling, and sugar. Each stack amplifies depletion. Instead, pursue rewards that require effort. Walking before watching, journaling before screen time, movement before relaxation. Effort-driven dopamine lasts longer and leads to more sustainable motivation. 4. Nourish social connection. Humans heal through connection. Chronic pain and isolation share overlapping neurological pathways. A simple daily ritual like texting a trusted person, "Good morning," can activate oxytocin and serotonin, balancing your emotional chemistry and lowering perceived pain. Healing accelerates when you feel seen and supported, especially by your loved ones. Number 5, emotional regulation and self-awareness. Pain is not physical. It's emotional, energy stored in the body. Begin noticing how thoughts amplify or quiet your symptoms. Practices like diaphragmatic breathing, meditation, or gratitude journaling shift your nervous system from a threat mode to a repair mode. When you control your state, your biology follows. Consistency. Over intensity, avoid the trap of all or nothing. Healing happens through repetition, not perfection. Small, steady practices, daily hydration, movement, light, sleep, compounds into powerful results. Think of it as training your brain to believe in recovery. Your journey through chronic pain, fatigue, or frustration is not a failure. It's data. Every setback holds information your brain and body can use to rebuild stronger. The story of your health is not written in decline. It's written in adaptation. The truth is, biology is on your side. You were never meant to remain in chaos. When you understand how your dopamine, neuroplasticity, and motivational systems interact, you stop fighting against your own wiring. You stop searching for external fixes and start leveraging the internal design that already knows how to heal. Healing is not about forcing yourself to be positive. It's about learning to work with the truth about your biology, rest when depleted, move when ready, connect when isolated, and focus when lost. This is how long-term recovery happens. It's not overnight, but over consistent cycles of renewal. You're not broken, you're just rebuilding. Every act of focus, every pause instead of panic, every choice of rest or reaching out sends a biological message to your brain. By mastering the rhythm of dopamine, the rewiring power of neuroplasticity, and the deep human needed for connection, you turn the science of motivation into the practice of healing. Start where you are. Drink the water, step into the light, rest deeply, connect intentionally. Your healing starts not when you do more, but when you finally allow your biology and your body to do what it was built for.